Well, diversity inclusion. I think I'll start with my career. As I mentioned before, I am a member of the LGBT community. My partner, he is a person of color, and my entire career, I fight for every single person. But one of the major things that I did when I was at Kutztown University was really shift the focus to diversity and inclusion, not only within higher education, but within our small town communities. While I was at Kutztown University, and I served on the Council of Trustees after I was appointed by Governor Wolf. I helped shift the focus at the university. After the 2016 election, as you know, there was a lot of hate groups that felt emboldened by the words of the president, by the words of certain groups that were saying things throughout our country, and they felt validated. But that didn't mean that our students at Kutztown University or those in our communities shouldn't be supported. I actually helped create a bias response task force that anytime there's hate or bias on campus, there's a place to respond to. There's support networks. I fought on a lot of issues, from LGBT issues to race issues, to fighting for those with disabilities, to feminist related issues. I'm proud to say, as a man, I am a feminist. Um, and I feel very, very passionately about these things. When I worked at the Allentown YMCA, I worked with a wide range of diverse populations. I was actually the financial aid coordinator at the Allentown YMCA, providing financial aid so that folks in our area could stay healthy, come to the gym. And a lot of them, as you know, Allentown has a large Hispanic population, and I wanted to do everything I could to support those communities so they have access to community centers like the YMCA. I think our country is at an awakening period.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I do fear sometimes that my partner may not come home from work if he is pulled over by a cop. That's a real fear for me. We have LGBT individuals who were in Pennsylvania. It's still illegal to deny a gay couple housing. We still have transgender individuals being discriminated against. People with disabilities still don't have access to everything. Women's rights are on the line when we talk about equal pay and we talk about family leave, not just for women, but for also fathers. There's so much at stake. And when people look at my website, you can see there's a lot of issues. And in terms of diversity and inclusion, I think it's important to focus on all these communities. Um, when back earlier this summer, when I was able to watch the George Floyd video, obviously this is not something new in America, and it's something that continues not to be addressed, that needs to be addressed. Uh, it was so disheartening to see that, and outrageous that in our country, we still face these issues and that our legislators continue not to do anything. I'm proud to say that I actually received an endorsement from People for the American Ways, End Police Killing Slate, because I am dedicated to ending police violence against communities of color and implementing policies that uplift communities of color. That includes reforming our criminal justice system. That means making sure we have pay equity for everyone. COVID-19, for example, has even impacted communities of color. Hispanics and especially Black women are more likely to have negative effects of COVID-19, are more likely to be impacted and more likely to die from COVID-19. And we see this all over the country and we're not addressing it. But it's because we already have inequities in healthcare and education and jobs. And so they're very interconnected issues. When we uplift one community, we're uplifting the whole. And so I will fight for things. I will fight for community conversations. One of the things that I was very involved with at Kutztown was this group called Peace Love Kutztown. And what it did was it brought together people from all different backgrounds to have those tough conversations. And so I want to do that throughout the district. I want to make sure that we're including everybody in conversations and that we're creating an atmosphere of acceptance and openness and tackling people's prejudice through education. I was an educator. I worked at our LGBT center at Kutztown University. I also worked at our women's center. And a lot of the work that I did was educating folks. Sometimes all it takes is having a conversation and exposing people to someone's story. I used to share my story all the time, my coming out story. living in a small town community where I was not treated well by my religious community, and not treated well by my peers when I came out. And so I have deep empathy for the issues that communities of color, those with disabilities, women, and the LGBT community are facing on a regular basis. And we can see that this nation is largely divided and people are scared. And I want them to know that they have an ally in me, that I will fight for them. And as a white person, I know I have a lot of privilege. And I want to use that privilege, like I have throughout my entire career, to uplift others and make sure that they finally have a seat at the table and that their dreams of having that American dream become a reality.